Hello, my name is Russell Myers. Welcome to And Unity for All. Trump sucks. Okay, I said that. Is that what you want to hear? Yes, I concur. I agree completely. Trump sucks. Here's where I do not concur. Our problems in this country did not start with Trump. Hang on, because this is going to be a long one. All right? Racism in this country did not start under Trump. Did the balance of the number of black people to white people arrested for the same crimes and in our prison system suddenly shift when Trump got into office? No, it did not. Anti-Muslim sentiments. How long have we been in Afghanistan? How long have we been in Iraq? You seem to forget that Obama also had a Muslim ban at one time. How many Muslim countries are we bombing right now? And under Obama, we went from bombing 2 countries to bombing 7 countries. Was there a refugee crisis from Muslim countries before we started destroying their countries? No. Go back and read the freaking article by RFK Jr. in Politico on why we don't belong in Syria. Look back at how long we have been interfering in Middle Eastern countries. I lived through the Iranian crisis. I lived through Afghanistan, the invasion of Iraq. All right, this didn't just start. He is a symptom. He is not. Trump is a symptom. He is not the freaking disease. Get your head on straight. The fall of the economy, yes, Trump is accelerating it, but he didn't cause it. I have been writing for years. I predicted the 2008 crash in 2001. Okay? I predicted the fall of the U.S. economy at that time. In 2008, I said, this is nothing compared to what's coming. For 10 years since then, I have been saying, this is nothing compared to what's coming. Other non-Wall Street, Wall Street economists have been warning for years that this is coming. For at least a year and a half, I've been saying, actually since 2016, I started predicting that the real crash was going to happen in the middle of 2018. I started saying that 2 years ago. Only a few months ago, other non-Wall Street economists started agreeing with me because they were placing it about 10 years out. And I was saying, no, it's going to happen sooner. It's going to happen in the middle of 2018. Here it comes right now. Look at what's happening to the stock market. Look what's happening, with all these different things. You put the pieces together and you could see it. I laid out all the evidence for it. I've been laying out the evidence for it. It wasn't some superstition that led me to that belief. It was critical observation, and I am not a financial professional. Anyone could see it if you just looked. Has immigration suddenly become an issue? Look back to Bill Clinton talking about building a fence. We've had a fence on our border. I drove past the fence on our border in the mid-90s. About 1995, 96, I drove past the fence on our border. It isn't something that suddenly sprang into being. Look at Bill Clinton's crime bill. Look at the anti-immigration sentiments from Reagan on. This didn't just start. Racial profiling, that didn't just suddenly start happening. In the early 2000s, there were criminal cases filed against the Houston Police Department while I was on contract against the Houston Police for racial profiling. Ask people in Chicago, ask people in Philadelphia, ask people in New York, ask people in the entire freaking American South. This didn't suddenly happen. You just became aware of it. You finally woke up. Just because it's out in the open doesn't make it worse. It's easier to fight the enemy you know than the enemy you don't know. Rats still carry disease whether you see them or not. They can sneak out and bite you at night. Termites still undermine the structure of your house, whether you see them and know they're there or not. They're there. They do damage. They have been there. If you think that the fights in the 50s and 60s for civil rights fixed everything, you're insane. Sexism. Ask any woman that has tried to work her way up the ranks whether sexism exists. Go to a battered women's shelter and ask if suddenly sexism just now started. Yes, Trump sucks. Do you think other countries have had this glowing view of us? I was in Germany in the 1980s when there were protests outside of our barracks almost every weekend from people that did not want us there. At least they were peaceful. Most of the time, I went through 3 bomb scares while I was there, and in 2 of those there was a bomb found. This didn't just start. Other countries see our military presence in their country, the citizens I'm talking about, not the governments where the government officials are getting paid off, not the contractors and the people making money. I'm talking about the people in those countries have not wanted us there. They see our military presence as an occupation. And it is. It is a military occupation of other countries. We have over 1,600 military bases around the world. I've said this before. We have roughly 1,000 foreign military bases and 600 domestic bases. That's 32 bases per U.S. state. That is not defense. That is freaking empire. I've said it before. What we spend on our military or defense, you put together the official military budget with other things that are not included. Upgrading existing nukes, over $100 billion a year on that alone. Add in NSA, CIA, FBI, VA funding. Add those to the official military budget. And what you find is that we spend more on our so-called defense than every other country on earth combined. This did not start under Trump. No, you cannot blame China. No, you cannot blame Russia. No, you really cannot blame Trump. Look at Congress, all the members of Congress. Just because Trump says he wants more money for the military, does that mean Congress has to vote it in? Look at the increase in the budget for the military this year, up to $716 billion, and another increase planned for next year. 70% of the Democrats voted for that increase. And yet you try to have peace talks. When was it? Before Trump had his meeting with Kim Jong-un, can you name the last time a sitting American president actually engaged in peace talks directly with the leader of another country instead of just dropping bombs? Can you? We drop 121 bombs a day, and yet we're not at war with anyone. This didn't just start. It has increased somewhat, not that much. It has increased, but it didn't just start. How many countries have we had sanctions on for how long? We've had sanctions on North Korea for 60 years. We've had sanctions on Russia for how long? Anyone that we don't agree with, we place sanctions on them. Sanctions are acts of war. Sanctions kill. And they do not only damage the country being sanctioned. It damages the economies and industries of the countries that sell to or buy from that country. If you own a business and I put a sanction on your biggest customer, fine, it hurts your customer. What does it do to you? What does it do to your freaking business? If you have one source for a material that enables your business to run, and I sanction that country from selling anything to you, what does it do to your business? So we've been doing this. You think that we've been making friends? This has been going on and on and on and on. You're just waking up. There is no evidence about Russiagate. Shut the fuck up about Mueller. Mueller filed criminal charges against the 13 trolls, and then when the trolls actually had legal representation showed up in court, then Mueller tried to deny the defense the right to examine the evidence. The judge said, no, you're gonna share the evidence. You can't file charges and say, I've got evidence against this person, but you just have to take my word for it. No, it doesn't work that way. Then Mueller tried to offer redacted versions of the evidence. Names that are critical to the charges being filed. The judge said, no, you cannot give redacted evidence. Oh, it's classified. Well, if it's too classified to use as evidence, then the court case never should have been filed. It never should have been filed. Mueller made a fool of himself, and you're still cheering for his ass. If this was about Russia, if this was actually about Russia, why aren't we talking about Uranium One, in which Mueller is implicated? Stop cheering for Mueller. Shut the hell up about Russiagate. We need to attack Trump on policies, which means that the so-called resistance needs to have policies that support the American people, not the corporations, not the military contractors, not more war. Yeah, Trump sucks. Chew on it. You get rid of him, you get Pence. You get rid of him, you get Ryan. Or whoever else that takes his place, but you know, and no, you can't just keep kicking them out and calling it a democracy. You can't. You want a military coup? Who do they install? Do you have anything to say about who the military would install? They'd install a bigger warmonger than Trump. You think that's a path to peace? You think military contractors aren't paying off the generals? Who would the military put in place except for somebody that supports military action? Do you want martial law? Because if you want a military coup, it involves martial law. Wake up! I have to get ready for work. Start thinking about what you're saying. Think about it.